Hello and welcome to the world of NDE 4.0. My name is Johannes Vrana and today is a great day because today we're finally going to be talking about the what is NDE 4.0. So we will be talking about what are actually the major use cases of NDE 4.0. So let's get started. So during the last videos, we spoke about the industrial revolutions and the NDE revolutions. And I will put the links to those two videos here in the description. And I think also there is a possibility to put it up here. So with the industrial revolutions, we started with handcraft. Then we came to the first industrial revolution, which was mechanization, due to the steam engines, renewable energies. Then we came to the technical revolution, digital revolution, and finally the interconnected cyber-physical. And for NDE, we started with perception. We went on to simple tools and the use of procedures. The analog revolution for expanding our human senses to waveforms we cannot actually do an interpretation on with our human senses, and we can convert them to something we can understand. The digital revolutions, including all those simulations and reconstruction technologies, and finally the interconnected cyber-physical. We also talked about that with all of those revolutions, industry and NDE are kind of more and more growing together. And NDE using the technologies of industry more and more, and industry using the results of NDE to improve their production, their design, their products. So I was giving some classes on NDE 4.0. And those classes, I did them together with a gentleman called Ripi Singh. And in one of those classes, we talked about, okay, before we actually started that class, we talked about what is NDE 4.0. And we just asked the class. So it's clear that those people we asked this question were interested in NDE 4.0, but they didn't really have too much information about it because otherwise they wouldn't have been in our class. Now, some of the answers we got were quite general. Some of them said, it's the next level, or it's the next generation of NDE, leading with data automation and digitization. And they're very true. And one I really liked is, I think it's getting started, but it has potential. And this comment is absolutely correct. This whole development, NDE 4.0, is just getting started. NDE 4.0 is a title for a future development. It's a journey, the journey to NDE 4.0. And every day I'm working in this field, I'm learning something new every single day. And that's what makes it fascinating to me. So, but it also means that perhaps if you watch this video in about a year, you might say, what is this guy talking about? All of it has changed. Could be possible. And perhaps I will be redoing this video in about a year to actually show you the state of the art in a year. And all those changes are quick. Now, some of those answers were also more concrete, like this one. A means to maintain and advance our craft utilizing a melding of best practicing and emerging technologies. So this is already speaking about one of the key use cases of NDE 4.0, the use of the emerging technologies which are connected to Industry 4.0, like artificial intelligence, augmented reality, 5G, blockchains, and however you name on how all of those for NDE, to improve NDE. And already this is something really big. Imagine what you can all get into it. And we will be discussing all of those emerging technologies in later videos. But it will take a little bit of time until we get there. Another comment I got was improving NET efficiencies via modern connectivity and advanced computing. So this also speaks about improving of the NDT, but it has two slightly different aspects to it. Number one, it has the advanced computing. Now, for sure, this is also artificial intelligence, but this can also mean all the new hardware we are currently getting, all the small computers we are getting, which we can actually put into every single device, which are cheap. But for me, the more important part of this statement is the modern connectivity. Now, this individual wants to improve NDT using modern connectivity. So how can we do that? Now, one idea, you are an inspector out in the field and you're climbing up this wind turbine. You're doing an inspection and you find something in this awkward position. Now you could either climb down, take out your cell phone and call your some other colleague to help you to do the interpretation properly, or you can switch on your video camera and your augmented reality thingy, and you can actually talk while being on that mast. You can talk with your colleague and discuss, okay, what can we do? How can we, is that something we should be concerned about? That's one example. You could also think, a connection between you and the manufacturer of your device so that the manufacturer can directly help you solving your problems. So there are multiple ways of improving NDT using those modern connectivities. So what we talked about up to the moment was mostly, number one, enhancing the NDE methods by the emerging technologies. By emerging technologies like augmented reality, artificial intelligence, robotics, 5G, blockchain, also perhaps additive manufacturing. Now, whether robotics and automated 3D printing belong into this category, you could discuss. But I think even that robotics is something which is on the market for quite a long time. We can nowadays talk about enhanced robotics. So this really brings them back that perhaps it's really a thing that we have to include them here in this list of the emerging technologies. Then we already talked about inspection support, remote support. Number one, by the manufacturer to help you with your device, or for the manufacturer to solve some issues you found with the device on the go. And this is actually also a big help for the manufacturer, because if you find something going wrong in your device and you call the manufacturer, then he has to see, okay, why did this happen? And it takes a lot of effort to see, okay, why really did this happen at this point? Now, if you immediately call him and he can see the error just happening, then it's a lot easier for him to actually fix this issue. Also, you can access perhaps an experienced inspector, a level 3, an engineer, perhaps even a fracture mechanics engineer or a materials engineer to help you to the next step of the interpretation of that indication you found. One thing I haven't found in a lot of statements, but which I think is going to be really important, is the point of improving NDE equipment due to NDE 4.0. Now, once we have all of those connections, actually, then the manufacturer can access the data from the system. And he can help you improve the hardware, improve the software, because he gets all of the status information. He gets all of the failure codes of the software. And in a way broader scheme than what he is getting currently. Currently, he's doing all those tests in his lab, and what he doesn't see in the lab, he is not able to fix. And once he gets it from hundreds of customers in an anonymized way, then he can actually solve a lot more of those bugs. And you will at the end get a better equipment. Now, this third box here is really for me a really big one. And I call it Inspection Control 4.0, and it consists of, you will see, currently of 4 parts. Number 1, NDE Processes 4.0. Now imagine your normal inspection environment. You are getting a job, and you get it on a paper that you have to inspect this and this component. You go to the component, you do the inspection, you write your report either in Excel or in or a handwritten report. You scan or you sign it, you scan it, and that's what you perhaps send back as an email. That's not the way it should be. You should get your task, your job description in an electronic way. And I'm not speaking about a PDF. I'm speaking about using a system which actually shows you your job with all the metadata included, with the serial number of the component included, with all of it already in a digital form, in a machine readable form. And that's the problem with the PDFs. Now, there are ways to get PDFs into machine readable, but most of them are not. Then you put your results back into, let's say you have a tablet and you put them into your tablet. Or you have, let's say you found an indication with penetrant, you have your cell phone with you, you take you take your cell phone and you take a photo of that, and it's put back into the report automatically. You have a direct digital workflow for all of that. You can even go one step ahead, digital commissioning, so that even an inspection company gets all the orders in an electronic way, and then also sends out the invoices in an electronic way, and also the reports in an electronic way. And on top of them, then we could also establish supply chain processes. And the supply chain processes on both sides. Number one, that you're, as an inspection company, that your customer actually sends you the invoice in an electronic way. But there's something which needs to happen to do that. Actually, you have your IT system, he has his IT system. And either both of you have the same, then perhaps that's easy. But in most cases, you will have different IT systems. So you have to get those IT systems to talk to each other. Best with open interfaces, with open semantics. And also on the other side, if you're talking about all your equipment you want to buy, okay, you find out that you need more you need a new UT probe. And the inspector is automatically putting after an inspection, I broke one UT probe. This goes out automatically into your system, and the person in the office can just press the button and say, yeah, please send out the order. Everything in a digital way without producing a PDF, putting it into an email and sending it to somebody else. Now, this whole process also can actually includes all the vision sight tests we have, that you have to do it in regular intervals, all the certifications, all the instrument calibration that the system reminds you, or perhaps even prepares that you have to ship out that instrument once a year to a certain place. It already talks to the other system, makes everything pre-finalized, and you just press the button and it's sent out. The other part which I group into this Inspection Control 4.0 is component traceability. You all know the situation. You have a component to inspect. You have some documentation about that component. It has a 15-digit serial number on it. That 15-digit serial number you put onto the report. Then this report is put back into your office. Then somebody else types it, and it's typed about 5 times. How often do you think this number will be wrong? And once that number is wrong in one place, your traceability is lost. you will not have your documentation, your results connected to that component. And this can lead to two situations. This can lead to, you think that a component which is actually fine has indications. And number two, you have a component which has indications, but you attach a report to it which shows different indications or perhaps even no indications. And both of those situations we really don't want to have, which are risky. Also, revision safe documentation, that you have this attached to the serial number and that every revision of that documentation is actually saved, under a certain space. And that if something is changed in the documentation, that the save is tracked. All of this finally also helps with result retrievability. If finally I want to pull the result of a 5-year-old component, it's just a few mouse clicks. And this brings me to the next point, lifecycle records. Now, normally we do an inspection at the beginning of the life of a component, and then we do it somewhere in service intervals until it goes to end of life, where perhaps at end of life we do some destructive testing to see what was really in those components. Now, with all this component traceability, with the result retrievability, we actually can pull the old records and combine it, and perhaps even have the system automatically actually combining all those results. And this, once we then have the end of life, and we compare the end of life with all the inspection results in between, actually this helps with seeing, okay, how reliable was our inspection? And it also helps with giving some more information to the engineers on, okay, how good is the view NDE can provide on such an indication. And last but not least, once we collect all of this data, we also can actually get into performance statistics. Number one, we can show a customer that the value of our inspection, because we can show him, okay, this, and this component was critical, and we found it. And otherwise, you would be in a bad situation. And that's what our customer doesn't want to have. So this is really, it shows a little bit more the value of the inspection. Moreover, imagine you have 3 inspectors, and you see from the statistics that one of them is always finding indications and another one is not finding any indications. Never ever. And the third one perhaps in between. So you might start asking a few questions. Why is this one not finding any indications, and why is this one finding too many indications? What is going on? Now, for sure, this has to be based on the legal system of your country. Most likely you will have to use some anonymization. But what we want to do, we want to get the trust of our customer. And once we can show, all of our inspectors have a reasonable performance, that our customer will be happy. And we can show our customer what they actually achieve. Now, here comes the third one, training status. Now, we all know how hard it is to actually count all the experience hours, all the training hours we have. Now this goes automatically. We know the hours an inspector has done. We know how he has performed. So we can automatically use this performance statistics for the next certification, for the next qualification, for the next authorization. And now, all of this I call Industry 4.0 for NDE, because we are actually using the methods of Industry 4.0 to enhance our craft, to enhance NDE. Now, I also like to call it informatization for NDE, because this is actually what it describes a little bit better. And I will be coming in a future video on what actually means the term informatization. But that's something for the future. Okay, so this was the first use cases for it. Now there is a second group of use cases for NDE 4.0, which might not be that obvious for you being an NDE person, but it's actually the main business case for Industry 4.0. And there is one more comment I want to show you, and that is this one. Acquisition, manipulation, and interpretation of data obtained utilizing NDT techniques to determine the effectiveness of a manufacturing process or application. Now, what does this mean? Now, let's switch right away here to this slide. It means NDE acting as a data source for Industry 4.0. Now, if you look into Industry 4.0 and the big picture of Industry 4.0, why is industry doing all of this? They want to improve the production. They want to improve their design. They want to create new products. They want to have everything more effective. And therefore, to do that, they want to run a lot of statistics to come to that point. And what do you need for statistics? You need a lot of data. So what they do, they use all of the data from the ERP system, from the MES systems, from all of the servers they have. They're using data from all of their manufacturing machines. They're installing a lot of sensors all around their production facility to actually give them data. And up to the moment, in most cases, they are forgetting about one of the data sources which can actually give them a view inside of the component, and that's NDE. And that's why I think NDE is an ideal data source for Industry 4.0. And we as an NDE industry have to give this to industry. Now there is already a lot of established interfaces on the Industry 4.0 market. So this we cannot define. We have to play along what they are already doing. And we will be talking about how to connect to Industry 4.0 in how we can connect as NDE to the industrial Internet of Things. So, thank you. Thank you for watching my video about what is NDE 4.0. This is kind of the end of my video introduction to NDE 4.0, and I promised already a lot of videos about the how. How do you do NDE 4.0? How do the emerging technologies work? How to establish the industrial Internet of Things and so on. But before I get to the how, I want to discuss next the why. Why do we need NDE 4.0? What's the purpose of NDE 4.0? This video already gave you a short glimpse to it, but the next video will focus really on the why. As usual, I will put more information down in the description. I hope you liked it. I hope you subscribe to this channel. I hope I will see you soon. So thanks a lot for watching. See you soon. Thanks again, and bye.